Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. If you haven't been here before, I'm the guy that doesn't really know what he's doing, and I'm figuring it out based on what I've seen on YouTube and on the internet. So if that's what you're trying to do, come on along with me. You can learn from my mistakes. I don't have all the right tools. I definitely don't have the skills, and I don't have a huge budget. So we're trying to do everything on the cheap. This is my 57 Chevy Truck. It is on a 97 Chevy chassis. And I'm in the process of fixing up the rear end that I got for it. This rear end I got out of a used truck, got it off Marketplace. The guy had the best price I'd seen on it, which was around 300 bucks. And I went to look at it, and one side wouldn't turn. So I'm like, that's probably just the brake stuck. The axle seals leak on these, and then the brakes stick. Well, I'm here to tell you we're about to find out. There's a lot more to it than that. I took a chance, made them a really low offer because there was that, there was some other things. Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. As you can see, we're dealing with a rear end here. And I feel like I should tell you that if you go an hour and a half one way to go buy a new used rear end for your truck, and you get there and one tire won't move, that's probably a bad sign. And then if you pull the cover off and it's full of stuff that looks like chocolate milk and you can actually see little bits of rust, that's probably not a good sign. So you probably shouldn't buy it. You probably shouldn't buy it. Or if you're a glutton for punishment, you could just offer him a third of what he was asking and buy it anyway and think, well, maybe I can fix it since I don't know anything about rebuilding rear ends. So that's what I did. I bought it for a third of the price. And what you see before you is success. So after I picked it up with the cherry picker and put it on the bench this way, knowing full well if it fought me at all that I wouldn't have room to work, I fought with it, and then picked it up with the cherry picker again, got angry and pulled on the bench and broke the jacks that I put on the bottom of it off. I threw all the metal stuff that was under the bench out of the way so that the cherry picker would work better. And then I got it set on here this way so I had room to work right in here. And then after only 3 pulls of the slide hammer, what do you know, the axle came out the way it was supposed to. Well, not the way it was supposed to. You shouldn't need a slide hammer. Anyway, so that axle is out. Now I just got to try and get the drum off, because I think the reason the wheels weren't turning on this side is because the drums, it's probably leaking gear oil, because they all do, and it got locked up, and then it sat out in the weather, and it got full of rust and dirt and grime, and everything in there just kind of congealed. I did get it to turn a little bit, but I got it to turn more than that, but not much. So now we're going to try and get the drum off, and yeah. You guys couldn't be here for the first part because I was actually processing a video and my memory card was in the computer and it said you can't take it out because it's still working. And anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can get this drum off. In the next couple of weeks we're going to have a lot of background noise because they're cutting timber behind me, and that's how it is. Also, it's getting into, I'm angry because it's hot season, so we'll have the fans going too. Rock and roll.
Now let's rock and roll.
Idiot!
Idiot!
Woo! I am often learning as I go. But I don't have an excuse on this one. I've had these apart before. I helped Maverick do his. I'm an idiot. I knew that there was a nut in there, and I knew that there was a keyway chingadera that went in there to hold it, and a snap ring. I knew all that. And here I am beating the snot out of it, and banging on it with a puller, and bending the crap out of the backing plate, when really all I had to do was take that off. Now this was still going to need some heat and some persuasion, but thankfully all the beating I did before, take it easy, bullfrog. I said take it easy. Where are you? I don't know where he is, but he's in here somewhere. Well, anyway, all that beating and heating and sweating and stop it, loosened it up. So once I actually took the stuff off that you have to take off, it just came off. You know, not too bad. So now I think we'll order a bunch of brake parts, because this has clearly been sitting in gear oil for a long time, and axle seals, and yeah, and we'll put. Normally I'd say just run it, but I think we may as well put shoes and hardware on it. We'll see if we can clean the drums up, because I know they're expensive, and I'll probably do rock auto on all of it, because that's the only way I'm going to get it halfway cheap. Because all this is a 1-ton rear end, and ain't none of it cheap. So we'll probably do pinion seal, crush sleeve, brake shoes, brake hardware. The cylinders might be okay, but I wouldn't count on it. We'll probably do cylinders. On Rock Auto, they're liable to be between $6 and $10. So, time to get on the interwebs and do some shopping, get all that ordered up. We should probably measure this and see if it's the right width. That'd be something, wouldn't it? What I'm not going to do is tear this apart before I have the new pieces here, because that's a terrible idea. So, leaf spring to leaf spring. Let's go. It'd be helpful if I didn't have this in the way. Probably, we're not going hog wild right now. Probably get that out of the way. I think we're all done with hog wild for a little bit. $49.5 on the leaf springs.
You are welcome.
Alright, the leaf spring mounts match up. Measure this on the part I didn't bend. It's actually 2 inches wider in the middle. And then mounting surface gives us another, let's say 9. So that was 6.5, so 2.5. We're 5.5 inches wider, which is going to be nasty. And by nasty, I mean real good. You know what I'm saying? Nasty, nasty, good, good nasty. Not nasty like this, because that's just bad nasty. That's like Don't take her home to your mom and nasty.
Why are you so sweaty?
All right. We may do some cleaning on this, but the first priority on this project now is parts ordering. Oh my gosh, look at how bad that is. The good news is I got all the scoop it out on this side, so the other side hopefully will go smoother. I can't believe I did that. I hate it when I do stuff, when I mess up stuff that I actually did know how to do. Not because I don't want people to see it, but because it makes my life harder for no good reason. And it's already hot up here. Not that hot, but it's super sweaty because humidity. Good news is I don't think I bent anything that can't be bent back. Still body work here. Not bad for the wrong hand. Probably should have kept in mind that thing ain't tied down. Aw, shoot. Here comes Evil Knievel. Mr. Evil Knievel sneaking in your back door.
You know who that is? That's Mr. Evil Knievel. He done snuck in my back door son when I wasn't looking.
You scare Mudflap with your big nasty motorcycle?
Hey, sit in. Go right in. Go right in.
Hey, guess what most of the problem was here?
Operator?
How'd you know? It hurts me a little if that was your first guess.
Richard, what'd you do?
What'd you do?
Well, see, here's the thing. When you pull the axle, you unbolt it from the end of the drum, right?
Yes.
So then, just pull the drum off after that, right? That don't make any sense at all, does it? Well, then you take the little keyway thingy that goes in keyway out,
And you have to use the screwdriver to...
and then you spin the nut off.
Yeah.
We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason to pull the axle out and then beat on it for 45 minutes with a slide hammer and bend the crap out of the backing plate, and there's no good reason for that. It doesn't make good video.
I don't know, I'm sure people get some entertainment out of you getting irritated.
Not enough to make it worthwhile. That's weird. Like, this has been underwater. What do you think? All new brake hardware, wheel cylinders, shoes.
Good for another hose time. What's she yelling about?
God, that's bad in there. This probably had an axle seal leaking for 20,000 miles before they parked it.
What are you doing for dinner, little boy?
I don't know. What are you making? Baby, like a nice sun Chevy. Oh, yes, proud when you turn it on. 3.5. 13. When you're ordering brake parts, especially for old trucks, there's probably 2 or 3 different choices. So that's why I'm measuring. We got 13 by 3.5. I probably should pull the other drum off, but I'm not gonna, because I want to go get some dinner around. So we'll do that, order some parts. Maybe I'll come back out later. My dog is now tangled up in everything. Flappy boy, you stuck, buddy? Me and the dog.
stop it. Please stop it.
There it is in all its ugliness. There's no bueno for caca?
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
Honest, that's just sweat dripping off my nose. It's not snot. That would be really gross. You might think it's funny, Mudflap, but it's not. Floppy boy, where are you going? Not very far. You still haven't figured out that cable, have you, buddy? Come on, do you get? You stay in here with me. We'll come back out tomorrow and do more damage, okay? Okay. I'm going to put a leash on you, though, because of all the big trucks, okay? I know you do good going back to the house, but we're going to be careful. Alright, it's 2 weeks later, and we got a bunch of brake parts, so now we got to get all this gross, nasty stuff off here. So, our friends Matt and Jana bought me these drum brake plier tool things that do everything that I usually do with a pair of pliers. So we're going to try using the right tool for the job. That'll be fun and new. Where do we start? I think I got everything. So really we can just start wherever. Probably should start by scraping some of this stuff out of here so we can actually see what we're doing. I've only done drum brakes a couple of times. So we're going to do it one side at a time, that way I can see what it needs to look like to go back together. So that's park brake. Yeah, that's park brake. Here's the thing they didn't count on, is that I would know how to use said pliers. I'm sure there's a right way to do this. And it's still going to round off. Cool. Well, I wasn't going to reuse the brake line anyway, but I kind of need to get it out of that wheel cylinder so I can get the wheel cylinder out of the housing. Or do I? Maybe it'll slide out with the fitting still in it. Yeah. Alright, I'm pretty sure this hardware kit's supposed to be for both sides. And for that reason, I feel like there should be an even number of everything. Not 3 of those guys that I'm pretty sure go over these guys. Maybe there's only 1 of these per side. Maybe. Everything else looks like it's probably right. But I'm going to fight and take that other drum off, and since I've already shown you how not to do that and then how to do it, I'm going to do this one off camera, and we'll be back. Flappy boy! Say hi to the people, Flappy boy.
Flappy Sedit?
Flap. Say hi to the people. Oh, Sedit. Does she my check?
Beans?
Flap.
Show the people beans? Beans? Oh, okay. Sedit. Oh, Dobredin. And Nelby. Oh, Toshi Mike.
Oh, does she my check? What a good boy.
The distinguished gentleman.
Distinguished indeed.
Yes,
Come on now.
it's better.
Looks like I've been picking
Oh,
my
you
nose.
just made it worse.
Looks like I've been picking my nose with
It's on right here.
greasy hang-ons.
Okay.
Good.
Stop wiping it with the same dirty spot. Okay, that's enough. Do not wipe it
It's
again.
clean? It's clean, or it just looks less like
It's
I've been
clean.
picking my nose?
But you kept wiping it, and then it'd be good, and then you'd wipe it again, and then it'd be bad.
Okay, after having taken that side apart wrong, I took this side apart right, and it was actually much simpler. However, after knocking this nut off there with a screwdriver and a hammer like I usually do, I think I've decided it's time to buy the socket for it, because that takes forever. It seems like the threads on the end of that axle housing are never ending. I haven't tried to remove the drum yet. This is the side that was rolling, so in theory, it should come off easier. Mudflap apparently has his doubts.
What do you think? No bueno.
No bueno por caca. So far, so good. Whoa!
Ooh, that was almost bad.
Oh, Lord, that's not good.
No, no, no.
No.
No, no.
Nope.
What?
Is Mudflap running away?
No, he's tangled up, and then he made boxes fall, so that he scared himself.
Look, point the camera at that. That's where the drum brakes are supposed to be. I'm almost afraid to look. That's great.
Did you just Hulk Hogan it apart?
No,
It's just not there?
they're just not there. There's no brakes inside there, which is what I was going to use as a guideline as to how to put the other side back together.
Oh.
So that's fun. It's no wonder they weren't hanging up. They don't exist. Oh!
But you got a dirt dauber nest. That's fun.
I.
It's like you're gonna have to watch a YouTube video.
This is what you get for buying used stuff. I have never run into this with a used axle before. All the brakes are gone off of one side, and they put it back together.
You got black stuff on your nose again. Okay. But now you also have it on your forehead. I don't know if that matters.
I don't care. It just doesn't look like a big nose. I can't even.
The good news is you're sweating, so if you're crying, you can't tell.
Oh, funny. Real funny.
Is that funny, Chad? I didn't order all the hard parts because I thought, some of that stuff would be reusable. That blows my mind. Blows my freaking mind. That's great. That's wonderful.
Wonderful, great, grand!
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
At least this side I kept kind of together so I could see. Ish. really. Crap! Why? Okay, well, let's see what we can figure out. We'll go grab the shoes.
We already have shoes. Oh, look how nice your shoes are.
They've been bedazzled. Look, that one's got gear oil on it.
Yeah.
Now. It's a Whataburger gear oil on this model.
Apparently.
Are these the same front and back? They sure look like it. Oh my God. This just went from being a pretty good deal to maybe a good deal to not a good deal at all. That blows my mind. Okay, so you've got to be kidding me. That's right way up. I mean, I seriously don't know without looking at something else how to do this. That's wonderful. Super duper awesome. Some people's children. Oh no.
What are you doing?
Well, this has to go on a certain way and then twist a little bit, but that tool isn't quite big enough for it. I don't think that's quite what we want, but maybe.
That looks
That's
better.
pretty good. Oh man, that makes me unhappy. Of course, we don't know how long these were heated up and welded together. I can't believe that doesn't have anything on that side. That's really going to be an issue. Okay. Alright, they're on there. You can finish putting them back together. I'm going to go have a nap and a beer, or a beer and a nap.
Pork chop and sleep.
Pork chop. That, I can't believe all the crap's missing off the other side. Who does that? What kind of animal does this? Honestly.
I feel like Wyatt would definitely be the person to do that.
Oh no, rolls free. It's real good. I'll bet it does. I bet it rolls real good on that side. Brakes don't hang up at all. God, you kidding me, people? It's no way to be. Alright, now all that's left is everything else. But I don't have the right adjusters. And I don't trust these ones. Because, well, I don't have two of them anyway. Where'd that come from? What on earth is happening here? Is this supposed to be on the back of the other one? I don't even know where that came from. This is why I didn't take the other side apart, so I'd have it to refer to. This is how you don't get a YouTube video every week, because you run into crap like this, and you got to figure it out, and everything takes 3 times as long. Ah!
This is also how man tears are produced.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I'm not crying.
I'm grinding all that grease right into my floor, too.
I was gonna say, what is that?
It's all the crud that came out of here. That makes me so mad. Ugh. Well, folks, I guess we're going to have to take the rear end of the truck part way apart so I can look at that to figure out how to put this back together. Awesome. Cool. Come look. Come look. I planned ahead and I did the right thing. And come look how it's going. The other end of that together so I could look at it and see how it all went.
You make sure the other side was together first. You make sure the other side was together first. You make sure the other side was together first.
He's saying exactly what we're all thinking.
Oh, well, I mean, it's mostly there.
Not this
So
side.
this is the side you're doing?
Yeah, the other side's the side I left together so I could
Oh, yeah. Real funny, man. Real funny.
Oh, is that funny?
That's pretty funny.
It's not funny to me.
Where's your new parts?
Oh, and half my new parts are wrong. We didn't get this cross piece, so I'll have to clean that up. That makes me so mad. Have I mentioned that makes me mad? It really makes me mad.
And how do you feel about that?
Makes me mad, Chaz.
And how do you feel about that?
About being angry?
Yes.
It's a pretty normal circumstance. Like, we're in a bad place here. I really don't know how a lot of this goes back together. I guess we're going to pull the other end of the other brakes on the other truck apart.
Wouldn't it just be easier to go watch a YouTube video?
Probably not. Because this way I would have it here to refer back to.
Ah, visuals.
Yeah.
Are these square body's taillights supposed to be two-piece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa!
Well,
Okay, I think we're on day 3 or 475 of the Marketplace rear end rebuild drum brake fiasco. And I had a lot of people say after I put up the short about it that I should have just taken a picture. Yep, I considered it, thought about it for a second, thought, nope, I got the other side. I shouldn't have to worry about it. Stupid. I guess just assume that people are going to do the dumbest thing possible, which I should know by now. But lucky for me, the internet obviously would have pictures, but I don't have Wi-Fi at the shop, and my phone is little and hard to see everything. Luckily, I have another 14 bolt, the one that's bad, that we're replacing, but all the drum brake stuff is there. So I pulled that off this morning. Luckily, the nut was still loose on it because I'd had it apart before. So it's a good thing I didn't drive it at all. Or, I mean, very much. Anyway, so now I've got that apart. I flipped this over so it's right side up so that I can get the right point of view, or it's easier to see, you know what I mean? And we got her strapped down again on the table or the bench, and now we're going to see if we can actually put this thing together. Here we go. We've got to figure out which one's which here. One is right and one is left. Got an L on it. That has an R on it. That seems like a good sign. Goes like that. That goes like that. keepers, some lubricant, and some springs. Time to go look at the other rear end. You only have to hold 7 things while you put it together. Should be easy enough. See if that'll hold that. Oh, that's way off. So we figured it out. I just got to repeat the process on the other side. I won't drag you through that because that was probably more painful for you than it was for me. But it's on there. This side is set up. It'll need, of course I'm going to put a new line on and we'll get to that stuff later. But the drum brakes are together and should function as normal. The wheel cylinder will push them out. The springs will bring them back. The adjuster will bring them out to where they need to be. They're almost touching. Everything looks like it fell in where it's supposed to finally. And we'll be back once we get the other side done. Okay, so we've got the brakes pretty much all together. And I showed a lot of that at high speed just because I don't want you to get doing it the wrong way from the way I'm doing things. It's pretty straightforward in that you have to do it the way it has to be done or it just won't work. So, by that I mean, if you're doing it in the wrong order, it's not going to go together. You have to take it back together and put it back together in the right order. And if you keep one side together, and you confirm that the other side is actually there and it exists first, you can go back and forth between the two. If not, if you have lots of old junk around, you can take apart another one and refer to that. Or you could use the internet and screenshots if you have to because you don't have Wi-Fi in your shop or whatever. You can figure it out, okay? So here it is. I used bungee cords to kind of hold the shoes in place to get them in the basic area, and you can tell where they go by the shape of the drum or the backing plate. And then just went a piece at a time and figured out, okay, look at this one, make this one look like it. Obviously this spring has to go on before this spring because it's on the outside of it. And then this spring has to attach to this spring, so this really has to be the first one. Well, this has to be first because I have to have it on there before the rest. That's basically how I went about doing all these brakes. Okay, the bungee cords kind of held things in place while I figured out positioning of the adjuster wheel and these little springs. These guys on both sides, these hold the shoes to the backing plate, so that's a big help, but the bungee cord helps some more. So that's all together. I did figure out the other side where everything was missing in action. This axle, I wouldn't say it's done yet, but I spent about 2 hours on it with a wire wheel, getting all the yuck and crud off it, and it's pretty close to where it's going to be when I paint it. I sprayed down through the axle tubes with brake clean. I sprayed in here with brake clean real good, cleaned everything out the best I could. What else did we do? You okay? Okay. high school sports, they called me Stonehand. Okay, when you don't use the right tool for the job, sometimes this is what happens. We're back to using the old camera that I replaced because I don't like the little spots on the lens. We'll get that fixed up hopefully before the next video. But picking up where we left off, a couple more things we found on this. The drain plug. This is cute, custom stuff right here. Luckily, it looks like they just stripped the original drain plug, the socket part, and the threads and stuff are intact here, so we'll just rob one off another diff and put in there. But, you know, they just booger welded a bolt in there. You do what you got to do. We got the front pinion seal replaced. That took some doing. We had to use a puller on it. Pulled the nut off. That wasn't too bad. Marked everything with a marker so we could get it back in the same place. There's a proper way to preload that bearing and everything, and it's probably not the way I did it. I just drew a line and put everything back where it was. But then also I wire wheeled this nut to clean it up before I put it back, so I lost my mark on it. So then I just guessed.
And even a broken clock is right twice a day.
And we don't have much end play. It still spins smooth. Spins it smooth. So we'll take it. It'll be good or it won't. At this point with this differential, whatever. It's going to work or it won't. So we did that. We cleaned up the guts of this thing with brake clean. It's as good as it's going to get. We'll see what happens. It'll work or it won't. And I was just going to clean up, like hose off the bearings and the hubs in these drums and just run them, but one of the bearings fell apart. So that led me to doing bearings. I was already going to do seals, but that led me to doing bearings. I mean, it fell apart. The outer bearing just came apart and came out the end of the drum. So the first thing you've got to do is drive one upright. So this drum, you would go down through here. The proper tool would be a brass drift. I used a pry bar and a hammer, and we drove that. We worked our way side to side this way, side to side this way, and we drove that race out, and that looks like this. And then you flip it over, and you look at the back side of the drum, and there are snap rings in there. And the snap rings look like this. Okay, and you can see that's a pretty healthy snap ring. Like your little bitty snap ring pliers that you have for little stuff, they're not going to touch that. So there are proper snap ring pliers for something of this girth. I don't have those, so I had these broken needle nose pliers, and I just cut them off so they were the same length again. And my buddy Matt and I, neither one of us are little fellas, and I'm reasonably strong, and I know he's plenty strong. You remember he's the guy that, you know, Hercules the bed out of the ground.
Oh, Hercules, 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 Hercules.
He'll be back a little bit more this summer. Anyway, we both had those needle nose pliers in there, and we get them hooked in the edges of this thing, and we just couldn't get it to squeeze enough to get it out of the groove it was in. So we were about ready to go to town and buy some tools, and so let's go try it one more time. I said, I feel like if we had more leverage, maybe we could get it. So we came back out, and we modified our pliers by putting the extendo kit on them. We just needed more leverage. We need a cheater pipe sometimes. Is that the right way to do it? Probably not, but it worked. The first one still fought us for a little while, but the second one, he was actually able to get it with that and just sneak it right out of there. So that was good. Of course, then you flip the drum back over, so it's like that, and you drive that outer race out from there. So now all I've got left, you know, like it's not that much, it shouldn't be that much, none of this should have taken this long, is to drive these new bearings in, bearings and races. So we'll put the outers in first, and so this is the outer, I know because it's smaller, and it has to go in like that. So we'll get it in there, drive that down to where it seats, and then we'll put our snap ring back in, and then we'll get our new inner and we'll drive it in there. We'll drive the race in, but this one we don't have to do with the bearing because the bearing won't be trapped, and then we'll drive the new outer in there. Okay. So then hopefully the next video we make on this axle business, of course, then we'll put everything back together, the reverse of the way we took it apart, except for all the struggling. I hope to skip the struggle on the way back together. We'll just put the stuff back together and put everything on the way it goes, and that should make it simpler. So we'll screw this nut on, might even buy the right socket, and then we'll put this little retaining block in there in the keyway to keep it from turning. It'll go in like that, and then we'll put this snap ring on to keep the block in the keyway, and ta-da! Ta-da! Then we'll slide the axles in, and we'll slap some paint on it, and we'll call it good. So yeah, this has been a multi-week thing, and I can't say I've worked 8 hours on it every time I've worked on it, but I have a lot of hours in this, and most of it's because I didn't know what I was doing, or I didn't have the right tools, or both. But we got it figured out. Is this rear end rebuilt? No. The axle bearings and the gears and everything, that stuff's still untouched. It could need attention. If it needs attention down the road, it's going to get a more highway-friendly gear than 410s. But for now, it should work enough that it should work. And that's all I need right now. So we'll do a little more wire wheel work on this drum, obviously, inside and outside, and then we'll get her back together. But we're in a lot better place than we were. As far as money goes on this project, because I did buy the diff so cheap, even with all the brake parts and bearings I bought, total with the price of the diff and the price of the brake parts and the price of the bearings, I'm at about what a known good differential would have cost me. Now, we all know if you bought something on Marketplace, that may actually be good, or it may need everything that I've done to this. So I'm still not too upset. I learned something from it, and it's got all new parts on it, mostly. On the outside, we'll say that. So from the backing plates out, everything's new, except for the drums and the, well, a lot of stuff's new. Anyway, if you like what we're doing, click subscribe, give us a like, the thumbs up down there. Come back and check out the other videos. See how we got this truck to where it's at with the fuel-injected big block in it and the modern drivetrain under it. We've also got the 53 Bel Air we're working on and a few other projects piling up back there. So we appreciate you watching. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. We'll see you next time.